Love Me ends the only way it possibly could, with fists, fire, betrayal, and a choice. From the moment June steps into Milan, she is trying to be someone steady, responsible, loyal, good. But by the time the final underground fight explodes into chaos, she is standing between two boys who represent completely different futures, and she's forced to confront who she really is. This isn't just a love triangle, it's a battle between safety and intensity, between unconditional love and transactional survival. And in the end, someone has to let go. The turning point of the film isn't the fight, it's the leak. The private, explicit exchange between June and James, something raw, secret, and intoxicating, is blasted across Emilia's birthday party for everyone to hear. The humiliation is instant and merciless. The same clip loops again and again. Will hears it, James sees the damage, the room turns hostile. And just like that, June is no longer the mysterious new girl, she's a spectacle. The betrayal cuts deeper when we learn Emilia posted it. The girl who rescued June on her first day weaponizes her most vulnerable moment. In a world built on reputation, June's is shattered in seconds. But here is what really matters. The video proves James was right about one thing. Everything at St. Mary's is transactional. Popularity, loyalty, even friendship. June thought she could control the fire. Instead, it burned her. When another underground fight is announced, this time with Will as the surprise opponent, the emotional stakes rise. Austin manipulates Will, feeding his insecurity. He tells him he's the only one who can take James down, the one who can finally step out of his shadow. For Will, this fight isn't about money, it's about dignity. James is stunned when Will enters the ring. He refuses to fight him at first, he begs him to stop. That's the shift. For most of the film, James thrives on dominance, but here he doesn't want to hurt his best friend. The fight becomes messy, emotional, and deeply personal. Not just punches, but years of power imbalance erupting at once. June arrives screaming for them to stop, and when no one listens, she pulls the fire alarm. That moment defines her arc. She refuses to let male pride dictate the ending. She chooses disruption over destruction. Police sirens wail, Austin orders James taken away before he can speak, the criminals scatter. June steals Will's bike and chases after them. This is the first time June actively runs toward chaos instead of away from it. She's no longer the girl trying to fit in, she's choosing. The chase ends in a crash, the car explodes. It's dramatic, yes, but symbolically it's even bigger. The underground world, the manipulation, the steroids, the toxic competition, it goes up in flames. James survives barely, and in the aftermath, something finally changes. When June and Will find James alive, something unexpected happens. Will helps him. After everything, the betrayal, the humiliation, the jealousy, Will chooses compassion. He chooses his friend. That's Will's growth. All film long, he's lived in James' shadow. He wanted to be the protector, the hero, the better choice, but in the end, he proves his strength, not through violence, but through forgiveness. He admits June has suffered enough, and he lets her go. It's painful, it's mature, and it's the most loving thing he does in the entire movie. Earlier, James insists everything in life is transactional, even love. But when he shoves Austin, quits steroids, refuses to fight Will, and risks everything in the final chaos, we see cracks in that worldview. He chooses people over power. He chooses loyalty over ego. He doesn't suddenly become soft, he's still sharp, still volatile, but he's no longer pretending he feels nothing. And that matters. Throughout the film, June insists she can hate James and love Will through sheer willpower. She believes attraction can be managed like homework. She's wrong. The final scene brings everything full circle. June quotes Shakespeare, "All's well that ends well." It's a line that echoes her very first literature class, the place where she proves she was intelligent, composed, controlled. But now she's different. She's been humiliated, exposed, betrayed, desired, tested. She's faced death. She's watched two boys nearly destroy each other because of pride and pain, and still she steps toward James. Not because he's safe, not because he's perfect, but because he's honest about who he is, darkness and all. Will represented comfort, stability, the good choice. James represents intensity, risk, transformation. The film doesn't say James and June will live happily ever after. It doesn't promise he's fully changed. It doesn't pretend the damage disappears. Instead, it suggests something messier and more realistic. Love isn't about picking the safest option. It's about choosing the person who forces you to confront yourself. Will learns to stop competing. James learns to stop negotiating love like a contract. June learns she can't logic her way out of desire. The explosion at the end isn't just physical, it's emotional. The old versions of them burn away, and what survives, three people who finally see each other clearly. The film closes on the possibility of a first real kiss between June and James. Not secret, not humiliating, not transactional. Just chosen. And maybe that's the real meaning of love me, love me. Not that love is safe, but that it's worth the chaos.